Michelle Banger, Managing Editor of Quality. I'm here today with Adam Sklader, and he's the new President of Manufacturing in the US and Australia at ECI Software Solutions. So, Adam, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I'm sure you have a lot of big plans coming up, but just to start off with, in general, can you tell us what trends you've seen in manufacturing today?
Absolutely. And I think there's quite a few. I've been in the industry now for 16 years, and we've seen quite an evolution within manufacturing. But to me, the big trends that I've seen, automation and robotics. And you go to manufacturing floors and you see the robotics that they're using in some really, really impressive and efficient sites. The second trend I would say is data analytics. And the use of data analytics is soaring. Companies leverage big data, predictive maintenance is a big piece, inventory management, and they're utilizing that to drive efficiency in the business. And then sustainability. I see a big push towards sustainable manufacturing practices. And businesses really are focused on minimizing waste and utilizing eco-friendly processes when possible. So that to me, Michelle, is what I've seen as far as recently.
hmm Sounds great. Um, and just to kind of illustrate these trends, do you have any examples from your career you can point to or things you've seen this in action?
In my previous life at a different company, we had some really what I would call smart plants that we would go visit where they were utilizing robotics throughout the entire plant. So they could go and see exactly where a part was, type it in, a robot would go grab it, pack it, so that whole pick, pack, ship piece was all automated. And obviously manufacturers still need humans to go and run the line and make decisions and understand when things get astray. But there's been some really interesting examples of how companies, I would say, are forward thinking and utilizing technology to really drive business.
hmm Oh, for sure. All those trends you mentioned are things everyone's talking about for sure. So, um, do you have any advice for quality professionals or manufacturing professionals who are interested in all these trends, but not sure about how to get started?
Historically, I would say manufacturing's a little late to the party at times on some of the new trends. Cloud hosting would be something to point to, although manufacturers all over the globe have adopted that recently. I would say embrace technology, stay updated on emerging technologies, be open to adapting processes. People are typically pretty guarded with tribal knowledge and protecting their job, but technology really enhances the way that they're able to interact and do their job. Um, One thing that's prevalent in every business, ECI included, continuous learning. I would say upskill, reskill yourself and the workforce whenever possible. There are so many rapid advancements, and ongoing education is essential. And then network and collaborate, engage with professionals across the industry, share insights, lean on people as mentors. Building relationships, in my eyes, can lead to very innovative ideas and partnerships.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like so many people are scared of new things and just sort of hope they'll go away. But of course, your competitors aren't doing that. So
Well,
you're right.
change is always scary,
hmm
but once you get into it and you implement it, it typically becomes very positive.
For sure. Just one example of how it, saves time or cuts, inspection or something. I think that people are won over quickly for sure. So I know your goals with ECI are helping to, helping manufacturers improve operational performance and, using connected systems and practical AI. So can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Really, for us, it's we work with small to mid-sized manufacturers. We feel like that is the heartbeat of the industry. We're excited because we get to go in and help these organizations. I was at a prospect north of San Francisco last week. Their big objectives, which I thought were fantastic, were they wanted to ensure that they could drive scalability, that they had visibility across their organization, and traceability. And this was a process manufacturer. So, traceability, of course, when you're talking any sort of food item, is extremely important. And for us, it's just getting close to the customers, understanding their goals and objectives, aligning that with our goals and objectives, and creating a true partnership. And we don't want to be viewed as a vendor. We want to be viewed as a trusted advisor and a partner to these organizations. And we have tens of thousands of customers. When we're able to do that and both sides align from goals and objectives, it's extremely successful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think everyone responds to that partnership idea, instead of, two competing interests or something like that. So, um, if there is a company who is sort of looking for new solutions, like this prospect, is there certain questions they should be prepared to ask, or how does the process kind of go more smoothly? Is there kind of a list of checklists what they want, or what would you suggest?
Typically, a customer or a prospect will go through and they'll look at what are they trying to change internally? What are they not happy with their current solution? Essentially, what keeps them awake at night? And then they'll come up with a list of requirements. Typically, they'll send that out to multiple vendors, and the vendors will respond and answer those lists of requirements. On our side, from an ECI perspective, we're constantly doing fit gap analysis. We want to ensure that we can deliver and hit on the objectives that they desire. Then a typical prospect will down select to, two or three vendors and start to do demonstrations, look at the software, get to know that organization. And from an ECI perspective, again, we go out and try to drive the partnership, but when you look at these prospects and some of the antiquated solutions that they're running, inevitably at the end, the two vendors or three vendors that they have most likely have a better solution than what they currently have implemented. My challenge or my advice to prospects making decisions is, who do you want to partner with long term? This is not a transactional decision. This is 10, 15, potentially 25 years that you're shaping the organization. Who do you trust? Who do you know can deliver on what they say? And ultimately, if the vendor does stub their toe, who do you have confidence that they're going to come in and fix the issue and work with you?
Not just a one-off decision and then you never speak again. So that makes sense. Um, with the antiquated solutions, does it seem like the manufacturing industry, I know you said a little late to the party, but um, how do you think the industry is today? Are people adopting AI bit by bit, or is it still, far off for a lot of people you see?
People are definitely adopting AI. AI is a huge topic, sometimes can be a little buzzwordy in my eyes. Where there's a little bit of skepticism still is, what's actually deliverable and how does that positively impact my organization? Agentic AI is a huge topic. And whether people know it or not, you see agents involved in anything that you do. If you're talking to your credit card company, typically that first line is an agent that's responding to you and trying to answer your questions in real time. It's no different from a manufacturing perspective. So the agentic side, I think people can see and understand what that delivers, and then there's more use case delivered AI, and I think that's where people become a little skeptical. But that's how you can really dream up something within your business that could help revolutionize your business, and then adopt AI to help you drive that. So manufacturers it's top of mind everywhere that we go and every customer and prospect that we talk to. But again, that reluctance comes from, how is this actually going to positively impact my business?
Yeah, that seems like definitely an obstacle. Like people are interested and willing to try it, but they're just kind of not sure the best place to start or um, kind of where to go from there. So that makes sense. Can you tell me how you got into your software career in the beginning?
Yes, my path was a little, I would say, unconventional. So I'll give you a kind of a quick, full background. I graduated college, and I'm sure I wasn't any different than anybody else. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I actually started doing indirect car loans. I worked at Wells Fargo for quite a while. They ended up shutting down a $2 billion division. Um, I was living in Des Moines, Iowa. I had moved to run a region for them. And then I took a job with a company called Windmark Capital, which was technology leasing. And I did that for 18 months. And through that, I met a vice president of sales at IFS, which is a software company. And I ended up going over in 2010 and starting to sell for them. Sold for them for 5 years and was recruited away to a company called Domo, which is a business intelligence, was a startup at that point. Went over there for a while and then ended up going to Epicor, which is another software company and running migrations. From there, went to a company which is a quality management solution called ETQ and globally ran their install base or their existing customer base. And then was recruited back to IFS. This is now 2019. Went there, ran process manufacturing, ended up running in North America their account management team or their install base, all of the existing customers, and then went and ran aerospace and defense across North America. So from there, I found ECI and thrilled to be here and really the opportunity and the culture and everything that this company brings, not only internally, but externally with the customers and with the prospects and how they deeply care about every single one of the customers, almost to a fault, bending over backwards and really doing anything and everything to make that experience as good as possible. And you can see that in net promoter score and everything else around ECI. But why I got into software is really, I don't have a great answer other than I thought people in software made a good amount of money and I thought I could do it. And fortunately was given the opportunity and was able to prove myself right that I was able to do it and learn the industry. And I don't ever see myself getting out of it.
Some great path. Do you have a kind of career highlight from all those different places and things you've done over the years?
My career highlight, and I told people at ECI this when I started, was we had a team. We called it install base at IFS, but again, it was all of the existing customers. We had 9 people on the team. Every single person qualified for President's Club in a single year, which to me was a huge accomplishment from a team perspective because it wasn't just a few individuals, it was everybody exceeding their goals and targets and then able to go and celebrate at President's Club as a team, as a group, and really collectively what that group accomplished. And to me, that just stands out as something that I was extremely proud to be a part of.
That's great. Yeah, it's so nice when the whole team is recognized. And again, if just one person, people are happy for you, maybe, but a little upset they weren't included too. So that's great. That's a nice example. Um, and over the years with software, seeing so many different industries and companies, is there kind of one, I guess, besides AI, big change you've seen over the years that customers are asking about more or things that's kind of coming into play these days?
Cloud hosting is a big piece, and as I mentioned, I think it's at the start manufacturers were a little reluctant to adopt that, but that's certainly far gone by now. There's still that's still a hot topic. There are things like FedRAMP and CMMC that are requirements if you're selling into the Department of Defense. So there's a lot of data security that comes up and a lot of questions around that. And then that flows into big data. Do I create a data lake? Where does my data reside? How do I keep my data safe? So obstacles like that or questions like that seem to be continually prevalent in the industry. And I would say increased cybersecurity concerns, as manufacturing becomes more connected, which is the goal of any manufacturer, or at least it should be, the risk of cyber threats do grow. So, companies need to prioritize investing in cybersecurity solutions and ensure that they have a great strategy around that.
Yeah, I feel like cybersecurity is such a big topic every year. You see manufacturers being one of the most, concerned about that issue. So for sure. I feel like even now, you still get letters all the time from something 10 years ago, like, our accounts were compromised and no one wants to get those kind of things. So it makes
No, and we
sense.
do a lot of training internally at ECI on phishing and being able to recognize phishing type emails just to make sure that we're secure, of course, and that's totally separate from any customer information, but it's something that's top of mind internally as well.
Even my parents, I feel like sometimes, text you like, someone texted me I was hacked or something. I'm like, but I think if it was a real hacker, they wouldn't want you to know that, so you can ignore it. So There's all those ongoing issues for sure. So coming up, are there certain things you see down the road, maybe 5 to 10 years from now, that people should be on the lookout for?
AI is not going away for sure. And that's going to be a hot topic for many, many years to come. I would say overall, just a digital transformation. I think there's continued digitalization that will reshape what traditional manufacturing has looked like. Um, More integrated solutions, Internet of Things is a big piece. Machine learning, all of that I would say kind of is encompassing and just allowing for smarter factories and smarter organizations as a whole. And then supply chain's always a very hot topic amongst manufacturers. So there's disruptions that have been experienced in recent years. COVID obviously is one of the most relevant examples. So companies are continuing to strive to create more robust and flexible supply chains. I do believe digital tools will play a critical role in achieving that as well. So those are a couple things that are top of mind.
That makes sense. Yeah, definitely be a counterpoint if you said, this AI thing, I don't think it's going any further. So
Right.
those are kind of the main things I wanted to ask you. But are there other things coming up with ECI or with you that you want to mention?
We do. So we have our big customer conference that's in Las Vegas in November. Customers and then a select few prospects can attend that, which is something I would highly encourage people to go to. There's going to be a big discussion and reveal of a product coming out, which is extremely exciting from a company perspective. So we're excited about the future at ECI. And historically, ECI has been a growth by acquisition organization, and we've really found ways to integrate everything and bring companies together on a single platform, which to me is going to be revolutionary. I think what you're going to see from ECI in the next 12 to 36 months is going to be something that's going to create quite a buzz in the industry. And is exciting internally as we start to think about and map that out of what that's really going to look like. I wish I could share all the information. I'm extremely passionate and excited about what's coming, but that to me is, I would say, in the near future, that customer conference is always a huge event for ECI. Historically, they've done a fantastic job promoting it, driving attendance, and most importantly, driving value for customers and prospects there. So, a lot of exciting announcements coming in November.
All right, well, keep an eye out. I think that's all the time we have for now, but thank you again for talking to me today and congratulations on the new role and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Michelle. It was a pleasure.